Hello and welcome to the Onyx Pathcast. Oh my God, what am I talking about?
Welcome to the Onyx Podcast. I'm your
Onyx
host, Danielle
Path.
Lazone.
Yeah, I know.
It's a
I'm your
muscle
host
memory, isn't
today.
it?
It is so muscle memory, and I'm here with my co-stars, Dixie Cochran.
Yes.
You're always somebody different every time I'm the host. But I'm not hosting a Pathcast. I'm instead hosting a Twitch stream, which is not abnormal, but also a little abnormal for me. Um, but we have exactly, let me double check. 26 minutes to go on our Curseborne Kickstarter, and
Yes.
we are so close to $200,000. Be so
That's really
fucking
cool.
cool if we did. We hit 3,000 backers, which is fucking so cool.
That is a huge number. Oh,
You
you are?
you just said you would do something silly.
I mean, now I have some thoughts about what game you can play.
You should play Hatful Boyfriend.
Yes.
Hmm. I understand. I made a friend play it and then he died. He got murdered by the pigeon mafia.
Yes. Excellent.
The game.
Um, Dixie, apparently you don't seem to have any audio. Uh, uh.
Go me for forgetting to unmute my audio. You can all hear me now. I'm sorry. I've just been talking about how to
Oh,
full boyfriend
Mhm,
with
mhm.
Danielle and how I thought Danielle's friend actually died.
No, I wouldn't say it that way. Yeah. Mm-mm. I wouldn't just be deadpan like, oh, I had a friend who played that. He died.
Sorry, I'll tell you about the audio thing. I didn't realize that my mic specifically was muted on the mixer there. I don't run tech that often.
oh, Danielle, Awkward GM just said that they missed your Chrono Trigger stream for At the Gates.
Yeah, I've been really, I don't know if you knew this, but I've been really busy, like
Mm.
really, really busy
Yeah.
for the past several months. Like this summer was started a very wild time for me. And I am now, this is it. This is the end, sort of
This
that
is the
wild
end.
time,
This is
sort
the end
of.
until the new wild time begins.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the past month and what all we've accomplished? Because this has been a whirlwind month, as I keep saying places, as far as the Kickstarter goes.
Yeah. Like, so it started out so like mind blowing, the support.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like we hit funding pretty quickly, which was, I expected that to happen, but then
Yeah, half an hour.
yeah, like it wasn't funded in under a minute or something stupid like that. But half an hour is pretty
I mean,
damn
half an
good.
hour for a new property that like everything else that we funded in like 15 minutes or whatever has been like exalted third edition. You know, like something that had a
Yeah.
20-year history behind it. This is something that has a year ish of us talking about it. That's it. So I think we're doing pretty good. Danielle's dog desperately wants to be on the stream.
He does. Yeah, he's. I think I'm talking. There's maybe people outside. He's very excited right now.
Right.
But yeah,
Similarly, it's before you go on, so real quick, I should also mention people on the stream. If you hear a doorbell, I apologize, but in the UK, trick or treating has started, so I am missing the chance to give children hopped up on sugar so I can hang out with y'all on the stream.
you just need to hop yourself up on sugar.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I can hop myself up on sugar so you can get that experience.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hold
I'm
on,
sorry,
let
you
me
were
just
saying about important things.
where was I? Oh yeah. So the Kickstarter though, like yeah, 30 minutes backed, which was great. And then it just kept increasing.
Mhm.
And we hit like, I think we hit 100K in the first 24 hours, easy. And it's just been going up and up ever since. And I mean, that was just such a good feeling
Yeah.
to watch that and to know, we were nervous at first. Like, we've been advertising this, but it's new, it's different. There was going to be some, you know, people who are our fans, who know what we're doing, who are all in, and then people who either are not our fans or haven't been with us this whole time, more recently, who are going to see it and kind of, what is this? What am I looking at? Right.
Mhm.
And we know that the property can speak for itself, but it's sometimes a little nerve wracking to be like, will people actually like it?
Right.
Yeah, we're also in kind of a weird place, marketing wise, because of Twitter doing what it's been doing over the past year. Um,
Mm,
and that used to be like one of the best avenues to get word about your projects out
mhm.
was Twitter. And also Facebook doing what Facebook's been doing in terms of the algorithm and burying links and this, that, and the other. So like
Mhm.
marketing over the past year or two for any kind of game has really, really shifted. And
Yeah.
in a way that everybody's kind of still uncertain about, because it's like, where do we
Mhm.
go? Where do we post? What do we do? Like, everybody uses ad blockers. Nobody wants to look at this. Like, I scroll by stuff immediately if I see that it's sponsored content. So I understand. Like, I am also
Right.
of that generation. It's like, ads, fuck you. Like, I don't want ads. Um, so like, yeah, it's been weird. So that's part of why you've seen us attack this from so many different angles. That's why we had the videos, we've had the website, we had the not quite ARG, but like kind of interactive bits.
Yeah.
We've
Right.
had lots of Reddit AMAs, which like
Yes.
as Twitter has died and Facebook has gotten weird, I've gone back to Reddit personally,
Yep.
and so
Yeah.
have a
It's
lot
been
of
weird.
people. But
Yep.
like we had such great engagement on those, and it's been strange but really heartening. Like every time that there's been a video or a stream or a Reddit AMA, the amount of people that have come out to talk about it, to support us, to say that they're excited to see this from us, has been really, really cool. And it makes me very, very happy at the amount of people that have kind of followed us around these different platforms that we haven't traditionally used very much.
Yeah. And I think it's good to also think about kind of context here because we've talked a bit about, this is good for new IP and blah, blah. Um, the last new IP that Onyx Path did that got these kinds of numbers was Pugmire in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just checked. We're actually right now, Curseborne is making a few thousand more than Pugmire did when it stopped. But Pugmire had, at the time it closed, we still have time to make these numbers, but it had about a couple hundred more backers. So, we didn't have nearly the same marketing avenues that we had with Pugmire, which again was very heavily Twitter, Facebook
Mm-hmm.
promotion at that time. Um, Also, despite the fact that printing costs have gone up and shipping costs have gone up, people are spending more per pledge on Curseborne than they did on Pugmire. And that was, again, really good numbers at the time. Pugmire was like, oh my God, this did great.
Yep.
So, I mean, uh, uh, the fact is that we've had so many more challenges over the 6 years between these two,
Mm-hmm.
and on top of it, with all the costs increasing, the fact that we're still doing commensurate numbers for once again a brand new IP, and on top of it, we don't have it's kind of like D&D shtick as well. I mean, this is a brand new system to a lot of people too.
Mm-hmm.
Curseborn, frankly, I had a lot more challenges than Pugmire did, and it's still pulling very, very similar numbers. It is frankly incredible, and a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
is due to the folks who are watching this and the folks who have backed us, having faith in the product because we obviously have that faith in it. We've been looking at it for so many years now. But it's different when it goes out into the light of day and what people see in it and what they like about it. And we've seen so many people not only really dig it, but they're saying things that we were internally hoping people would see, which is really, really great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super, super cool. And I mean, we talk about this a lot on the podcast sometimes, but like the TTRPG industry, especially outside of Hasbro Wizards, is still a really small industry. Like if I
Mhm.
go to a house party with like my partner's friends, I and I say what I do, I usually start with I'm in publishing and just leave it at that.
Right.
And if they ask further, I still have to start with, do you know what D&D is?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I have to go from there. And like sometimes people do know what Vampire the Masquerade is. Sometimes people do
Yep.
know like some of the other games that I can pull from that I can talk about. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, I actually have heard of your company," which is rare, but it happens.
Yeah.
But like I'm still at a point where I have to ask people, "Do you know what D&D is?" to explain what kind of books we make.
Yep.
Right.
And so seeing this much support has been really, really cool. Also, fun fact, I went to the KMFDM show last Thursday, which Matthew was jealous of me for. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
met the lead singer to the opening band who was from Sweden, and they knew a bunch of our Paradox colleagues.
Yay.
And I was like, does everyone in Sweden know each other? All right. It
Clearly
was
I
they
definitely know
do.
that's true. In Iceland, that's definitely true. But
It was
very true in
really, really
Iceland.
funny. Like, just talking to this random goth lead singer of a band outside of the venue, and he, like, knows people that we email with. I'm like, okay, weird.
oh yeah, like one of the things I've been doing since I moved here is I've kind of fallen into a mentorship program with a college
Oh, cool.
where they basically pair late writing groups, kids who are far in their writing program with established authors to help them with their work. But apparently, a couple of the people involved in that program wanted to work in role playing games, so they got my name. And so I've been talking to them, and so like people like easily half my age, if not more, born and raised in different countries, they're like, oh yeah, no, I've heard of you, and it's just like, where, what police blotter am I on? What's happening here?
But
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah, I know, D. I think this has surpassed your expectations as far as Curseborne goes, at least, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's been really great, and honestly, I'm very I'm very welcoming of the feedback that we've been getting from
Yeah.
fans, from people who've been reading the manuscript. Like everybody's been so like
My cat's being horrible right now,
yeah,
Mm.
and that she's
it's
right
just
here.
it's just an interesting thing, right? Because you put stuff out and you're like, okay, I have faith in this and I think this is really good. And, but it's also been I've been staring at Curseborne in some iteration for 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff that when I write, I make some assumptions about the world that I'm seeing people are asking these questions like, how do, does, if you're incorporeal, does that mean you're also invisible? And I'm like, I mean, if you should be invisible, you are invisible, but I take that as some kind of unspoken truth in my head based on assumptions about the setting that
Mm-hmm.
maybe we do need to spell out
Mhm.
because, well, people can't just listen to what's in my head.
Dear
So
God, that'd be terrible.
it would be, I do not recommend. But it's helpful to see people saying like, oh, hey, you had some inherent assumptions here,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not obvious to us. And so it's been super helpful. Um, and also just everybody's support. Like so many people have been saying such kind things, and people I haven't talked to in years and years and years have reached out to me to tell me how cool this game looks, and it's just been so sweet. I love it.
Yeah. Uh, one thing I've heard consistently, which has been really heartening, is obviously we're hoping that this would reach out to people who are familiar with the Of Darkness games.
Mhm.
There's certainly some lineage there. It's not necessarily a spiritual successor or anything like that, but certainly there's a lot of connectivity. And seeing people from those communities saying things like, hey, I was looking for something kind of in this vein that was new, and I thought it was going to be just World Darkness Chroniclers warmed over, but I'm finding something that's so much better and so much cooler. I didn't realize I needed this. Things like that I keep hearing,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
which is great because let's be honest. I mean, we've loved working in those different worlds,
Yeah.
and we
Yep.
still have books coming out in those worlds. We've always been fans of them. Always probably will
Hmm.
be fans of them. But it is nice to do something that's just ours, where we can. I've been having new ideas that just wouldn't make sense for those games because there are to your point, there are these core assumptions in those worlds, in those games, that people have just internalized, and we aren't beholden to those assumptions. We can make new decisions. We can go in different directions. Just the idea of course, different lineages can hang out together and do stuff together. That's just a new assumption, and that unlocks so much. I don't think other people are even quite realizing just how far that resonates and
Mhm.
how far that changes things in really cool and interesting ways.
Right. I know people are talking about like, oh, we want politics, right? Which is we want politics too. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
absolutely, it'll happen.
But one of the things that it's hard to do when you want your focus of the game to be more street level is to talk about like wide-reaching politics of family and lineage and all of those kind of things. And so we try to hint at it and we try to talk about, what family structures look like and what lineage structures look like, but we don't dig into it. That starts to become a less street level game when you start talking about, okay, well, now we're concerned about who's in charge of the city.
Right.
And that a great question for your characters. Who cares is the answer. But as your characters gain more powerful, the then it needs to be, well, we care.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we don't think they're managing it well.
Yeah.
And we want to talk to them. So
I want to talk to your manager.
I just want to talk.
But yeah, I mean, like, whoever's running the city, like, that's a great mystery to unravel with your first Curseborne game. It's like,
Yep.
who's actually pulling the strings here? Who's controlling something? We know it's not the mayor. It must be one of us. I mean, think of the first... I always come back to this, but the first 3 seasons of Buffy, the big bad in season 3 is literally the mayor who has made deals with
Yeah.
vampires and demons and shit. And that's a great build-up, is to be like, wait a minute, the person in charge of our town, and like, that's a town, that's not even a big city, but like, the person in charge of our town is actually an evil demon, and we should probably take him out. Yeah,
Right.
maybe you should, but maybe
Maybe.
you can't until you're entanglement 4 or 5. And so
Yeah.
you need to get a little more powerful before you can take this guy on, you know?
And a couple times I've heard these conversations. The 2 things I point out is like, one, try to imagine a world where you don't know what the word prince is in a Vampire the Masquerade game, and you have no idea who that person is or what they do.
Right.
And 2, even if you do know who the prince is, your band of 13th gen neonates are not going to go up and kill the prince. Not going to do anything to the prince. And it's the same thing we're doing here. It's like we're trying to unravel the stuff in layers and making sure you don't accidentally put yourself in a position where you get all killed. It's like, no, we're partitioning things out in a way so that the mystery is not only for the characters, but also the players at certain levels.
Right.
That you discover the world along with the characters.
Right. And I mean, there is a lot of expectation and a lot of desire for everything to be right where it is in other games that you've played from the get-go. And it's like, yeah, those things will come along and that will be a way you can play the game, but we have to get there and we have to build a really strong base before we get there, because
Right.
the core of the game will always be this book. All of the like higher entanglements, they will add to this core gameplay, but they will not change this core gameplay. They will not fundamentally change what you do in this game. And so we want there to be a really strong foundation and a really strong direction for this kind of gameplay, so that when you start adding on, okay, well, now there's also this political drama, or now there's also this, world spanning issue. It's on top of and in addition to a really strong base you already have. It is not all of these things, all of these moving pieces, and I don't know how to engage with it because there's too much.
Right. Right.
So.
And that is something, again, I've heard a few people say, is that they were kind of interested in this case, both these cases, the World of Darkness, but Chronicles applies. But they felt intimidated because there were so many books and the community was so knowledgeable about it and about the lore, that they felt like they couldn't even get in the door. And so looking at Curseborne, it's like, oh, cool, I'm on the exact same level as absolutely everybody else, and getting it fresh. But again, like, creatively, for us, that's also exciting too.
So exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting to be able to just do a thing.
Yeah, because like when you join something as a newer fan, especially something that has like a super established fan base, I think there is that tendency to even undersell your own knowledge, even if you are knowledgeable. Like I was thinking about this while you were talking, in the like Baldur's Gate 3 fandom that I'm in. A game that I have played almost 1,000 hours of, like literally like 960 something hours in Baldur's Gate 3, but I didn't
That's
play
a lot.
Baldur's Gate 1 or 2. And so sometimes in the fandom, I'm like, well, I don't know anything. I'm just a baby. And it's like, Dixie,
Right.
you have played 960 hours of this game. You know about this game. Like, maybe you don't know the deep lore of some of the characters from the other ones, but you know this game really well. You are a fan. And I think the same thing happens with, like, people who come into Vampire. And they're like, well, I read all the books, but I still, like, I wasn't around in the 90s. And it's like, you don't have to have been around in the 90s. It's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a natural thing. Like, surprising absolutely nobody in this stream, I'm a big fan of Transformers.
What?
And
What?
I know, right? I've never mentioned this before ever in my entire life.
I thought you hated Transformers.
I don't. It's my secret. I actually love them. But I will still every once in a while see someone like, hey, I picked up this toy. It looks cool. I found out there's 40 years of history, and now I don't want to look at it anymore. It's like, where do I need to start? And it's like, literally pick up any Transformers cartoon. Watch any of the movies.
Yep.
I mean, maybe not watch the movies, but you know what I'm saying. But there are certainly people who feel like they have to be given permission. Or Doctor Who, it's like, do I have to watch all of the classic stuff to watch the new stuff? It's like, no.
Nah.
I mean, do you even have to watch the new stuff in any kind of order?
Right.
Nah.
Some of it you might have context for, but really overall, like, you'll be fine.
I think you could just watch each Doctor individually.
I was thinking more of like the specials where like they bring back like Donna and she's got a daughter. Like that would be confusing to people who didn't watch the initial run with like Donna Noble.
Sure.
But
right.
that's really specific little story arcs. For the most part, you could just pick a Doctor and start watching. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly.
What do you
This is my 5-minute warning.
Yeah. Oh,
we have 5 minutes left.
Yes, we're almost there. I was just saying, like, I also dove headlong into some of the Japanese superhero fandom, like Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, and I was the same way. It's like, that's, again, another 40, 50 long year of things, and I just kind of started watching. And then afterwards, it's like, okay, now what? But the point is that it takes a certain amount of mental process to kind of just dive into a huge fandom like that, and a lot of people need that permission, so having something like this, which feels like those same things, but doesn't have all of that, I'm just going to say it, baggage.
Yeah.
It is freeing. And if you want to do something that's pretty close to an Of Darkness game, you can squint and more or less do it in Curseborne, with very little effort.
Oh yeah, easily.
But also, if you want to do something completely different, I mean, I've been playing in some actual plays of Curseborne, and frankly, I haven't been this excited of a horror game since when I first started playing back in the 90s. It felt like that all over again, and that's been really exciting.
I'm doing Extra Life with Dork Tales this weekend because I do it with them every time it rolls around. And I'm playing in 2 games. I'm playing in an L5R game and a D&D game. One's tomorrow at 2:30 my time. That's Eastern. The other one's at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. But I'm sad because they're actually running the Curseborne Ashcan and they didn't put me in that game. And I'm like, no! So I'm just going to watch somebody else play it.
I mean, you are aware of what happens with that.
Yeah. It's true, but I kind of, because I don't retain information that I looked at once.
True.
But also, like, as opposed to like you and Matthew and everybody, I've only ever gotten to play the one time we played on the podcast. Like, I've never gotten to play Curseborne yet. It's that like long sad dirge of the game designer who designed these games that they love and then never gets to play them. I'm sure that Dee feels that way, but at the gates.
Oh my God, I do. I also feel that I do feel that way a little bit about Curseborne because I've run a bunch of Curseborne. I have not played it at all.
Well, then maybe what we need to do at some point is we each pick a game that we like that somebody else on the team was the lead on and run it for them.
Yes.
Like, I'll run At the Gates, Dixie can run Curseborne for you or something.
I can run World Below for Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Could be fun.
That sounds good. I like this.
And I love how we're talking, like we have stuff to say, but also we're all deeply staring at numbers go up.
I'm just watching numbers go burr. I'm like, yep,
2 minutes. This. 2 minutes to go.
Like, all of us are like staring off screen at someone.
Also, I'm just gonna brag a little bit about my very slapdash voiceover for the Kickstarter video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, because so two things. One is a funny anecdote about this, but the first thing is that I wanted to do this kind of like, oh, I'm doing like a true stories that are weird podcast thing, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but if I do that like a little NPR style where like somebody introduces it and then somebody goes into the discussion and then, whatever. And I needed two different voices. And I literally needed to record this thing like days before, like it was like the week before I was going to be leaving, and Travis needed the audio so that he could put the video together. And I was just like, I can't get another person to record with me for this, so I'm just going to use like a voice modulator. And I like looked up a bunch of stuff. I downloaded something and then I played with it some, and I
Mm-hmm.
got a voice that I liked. And I could I could tell that it's me, but not really.
Hmm.
And even when I like uploaded it, Mike was like, "Oh, did y'all get so and so to do the other voice?" And I was like, "Haha, no, that's me." Um, and then because I had downloaded this voice changer app thing, it decided that it was going to be my default microphone. And so, like the next day, I went into a meeting with some other folks, and it had just picked one of the random free voices that was like this like movie announcer
60
voice.
seconds. We're in the red. We're in the red numbers.
We're in the red. Can we hit 197,000?
I
Can
don't
we
know.
get $100 in 50 seconds?
Maybe someone will buy another one of those big slipcase dealies.
And of course, keep in mind
Maybe.
that you're seeing us on stream like 5 seconds delayed, so we're going to be slightly delayed if you're watching it live as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome to the Twitch lag.
Oh, I know.
Tom
Yeah.
Murr has something planned, Dixie, so
I
maybe
saw.
you will be able to play.
Better.
That'd be
I love
amazing.
playing with Tom.
25 seconds. That
Well,
number is not
I
going
think
up. Why is it number not
it's not
going up?
because
Number go up.
they got to go through all the like add-ons they want to add and the
You don't
yes
have
and
time for the
the
add-ons. Do it. Just push the button. Buddy.
add-ons later.
Backer,
All right,
backer,
y'all.
will get it to you later.
10,
Just push the button.
9,
9,
8,
8,
8,
7,
7, 6,
6,
5,
5, 4,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Woo!
Woo!
Oh, look, little sparkles. I love
Yeah,
that.
you've seen it before?
I haven't. I've never watched one
Oh,
to
really?
its end. Yeah.
I love them. All right, so we ended with 3,017 backers, pledging $196,908, and that is awesome.
So good.
Woo-hoo.
And
Oh,
remember,
man.
as we go through this, as we get closer to the holidays and stuff like that, do you remember that this will be up on BackerKit
Hmm.
fairly shortly, and people can order it there in the future if they want.
Yep.
So it won't count towards the Kickstarter, obviously. It won't count towards stretch goals, but people can still pre-order the dice, the slipcase, like all the cool stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Right. As a note, since Danielle mentioned before that we were super excited about community feedback and whatnot, we are going to keep the feedback form open for a couple of weeks. James will tell you the actual final cutoff date. Partially because we want to make absolutely sure we get everything before we go back to manuscript. Partially because we're going to take a minute.
Yeah,
I
I
need
think.
a break,
for all
yo.
this.
Yeah, I think we're all gonna take a slight Curseborne break just because it feels like ever since we announced it, that's what we've been like living and breathing and nourishing ourselves on.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to go too much into like what we did and
Yeah.
how much time it took, just because we're going to be making a making of little book that you can get in
Yeah.
a cool slipcover edition. And there's some people who have paid for some behind the scenes like stuff that will
Right.
be able to get exclusive information. But I will say that like I have been knee deep in Curseborne since June of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like knee deep every day working on Curseborne in some way.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'm fuzzing the timeline. I know, Dixie, we started talking about it right around lockdown, right before lockdown?
It was
It was before.
I was still living in Delaware when we started talking
Okay.
about it, because I
Okay.
recall some of those early conversations, like walking around the house I was in Delaware, and coming like all the brainstorming, all the throwing things at the wall to see what stuck.
Yep.
You know, like there was a lot of it. There's a couple of key things that I contributed to the brainstorming that I'm very, very pleased with. Now,
Mhm.
I don't give anybody that much credit for being an ideas person, which is what I was on some of this. So I'm not saying that I like made the book happen. But there were some ideas that made it into the final thing that I'm very, very, very pleased with. Like, for instance, I was one of the people who was insisting that it be a multi-splat situation. Now,
Mhm.
credit to Danielle and Monica and the team and everybody else for making that fucking work. But
Right.
I'm the one
Right.
who was like, we should do this. It was really cool. People liked it on Essence. We should do it.
Yeah.
Just little stuff. And yeah, we are going to do a making of that will be obviously things that are to the best of our recollections from certain conversations.
Well, I have emails.
Oh, yeah.
I have so much like artifacts. I have photographs. I have me like making weird pictures. I have all sorts of weird pictures on my computer. Like, uh, so it'll be really interesting to like hash through some of that stuff, and also, yeah, like recollection, because I got brought onto the project. You guys had already been talking about it,
Yeah.
and I
Mhm.
got brought on in 2019, like towards the end of the year.
Oh, geez. So, wow, that's been
Yeah,
even longer than that.
yeah, and because we met at midwinter 2020
Yep.
with the folks that were writing the lineage
Oh,
like
right.
setting Bibles.
Right.
We like met up with as many of them as we could because some of them were
Yes.
not
Wow.
at
Okay,
Midwinter,
Yes.
obviously.
now I'm checking my Dropbox folder to see if I can find the earlier documents. I won't say anything, but
They're
I'm
not on
curious.
Dropbox, they're on Google Drive.
I think that my contribution to the making of should be the so anyone who went to the original website before it became a more obviously marketing website saw the like animation of the moths. That's the thing that I had Travis Legg do because I have no experience with like that kind of animation. And somewhere I have an MS Paint file that's called Stars Are Moths, where I just put a bunch of stars on a black background to show him approximately where I wanted the moths to come in. And I think that MS Paint file should 1000% be in the making of the
Yeah,
Curseborne
I
book.
also all of our
Give me an art credit.
well, yeah, also the moth symbol in general. So Dixie and I got on a call where we talked about what the symbol for all of Curseborne should be. Um, Dixie hit on moth, and like we had all sorts of different things, but I was like, I really like this moth thing you've got going on. And she had all these like weird like moth kind of mock-ups that she had
Yeah.
doodled, that we like kind of did this little presentation to Rich of like, this is why we think it should be a moth, and here's all of Dixie's like drawings and doodles, and like here's all the
Yeah.
symbology that we
Like,
can shove into just a moth,
we really wanted
all
to
of
be
that
like a
stuff.
moth, but with like the like string or web
Mhm.
situation specifically.
Yep.
So like I had drawn moths that like were from the side and had like kind of a spindle coming off of their
Yep.
side of the wing. You know, like I fucked around with it a lot, and then
Yep.
this is what we ended up with, which I love. I love the
Yeah.
symbol that we have. But it is one of those things where like, you know, you have lots of ideas in the beginning and they're all super fun and interesting. Even if you look at the background on the video we're on right now, the like webbing background, how it's kind of like erased and fucked up. I did that by
Hmm.
hand on my iPad for the background of the ash can because we wanted it to be like slightly erased, like somebody was trying to break out of it, like trying to
Yep.
get free of the web.
Yep.
Um, and I couldn't think of a better way to do that besides with my Apple Pencil. So I just sat there watching TV for like an hour and just like messing with it. It was fun.
So thank you for mentioning Google Drive, Danielle, because I have since found our initial brainstorm document. And because I'm me, I dated it. So November 16th, 2018 is when we first started brainstorming this.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So y'all
So
have
it's
been working on it
almost
for
exactly 6 years.
yeah. So y'all have been working on it for a year before you brought me on.
Yeah.
We started working on this like 6 months after I joined the company. Like I didn't realize that this has been here the whole time I've been here. That's a lot.
It's been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Just like Samurai.
Yep. Yes. We
Oh,
just started
geez.
watching that.
I love
and
Game Changer. It's the best show.
Fucking hilarious.
I love everything on Dropout. It's amazing. Yeah, you should watch
I
Gastronauts.
watched like the first season of Game Changer.
It's so good.
It
Everything
gets better.
It does get better,
It gets
Okay.
better.
and it gets more meta and weird, and I love it. Also,
I did see the episode where the rule is that Brandon cannot win.
Brendan cannot win.
Yeah. That was really good.
I think that my favorite episode to show people is Deja Vu, so you should watch that one at some point. But yeah, no, yeah. So we've been working this for a while. We've been hanging out. Apparently, it takes a Curseborne baby approximately 6 years to gestate.
That's not true because we are going to have books way faster than 6 years now.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be like offshoots of the baby.
There could first generation of a core rule book that is both brand new and inspired by a bunch of stuff in which you're trying not to incorporate all the baggage and yet want to hit on all the points that the previous games were so good about and everybody loved, and also be completely fresh and new. Takes about 6 years to do.
Yeah, because like I mean, like I was saying earlier, we all have both worked on and are fans of World of Darkness and Chronicles of Darkness. Obviously,
Yep.
like there's a reason we did the license stuff for it for a long time. It's because we freaking like it. We wouldn't do it if we didn't like it, and we all have our favorites, and they're all different. And we brought on a lot of people who worked on those games in the initial Curseborne stages. Like I think all the credits are in the Ashcan now, but for a while it was just the Curseborne team, and people didn't know. Like, it was like we talked to Megan Fitzgerald, we talked to Neil Raymond Price, we talked to Sevi Devine, like we talked to
Rose Bailey.
I mean,
Rose Bailey.
definitely Rose Bailey. Like we got
Yeah.
a lot of people who worked on Chronicle stuff and developed Chronicles books. Obviously, Danielle did Requiem for a long time and worked on a bunch of other stuff, and like Eddie was with White Wolf at the office back in the day. So,
Yeah.
like, we have all worked on all of this stuff because we like it. And so being able to bring bits of what we liked from that, but also make our own thing that we want to play, that we, like, I am actually a little sad I haven't gotten to play yet. I am certain that I will get to play once the, like, my partner's probably going to run a game at some point. But,
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, but, like, it is one of those things. Like, we made a game that we all wanted to play. And it's got all this institutional knowledge and all this fandom knowledge, and it also has a whole fresh take on a lot of things, which I think is cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's been honestly, it's been kind of a wild thing, the whole thing. But this month in particular has been it's been a fucking thrill ride. I
It's
have
stressful.
been.
Not gonna lie, it's been stressful.
Oh, it's so stressful. I mean, being in the middle of any Kickstarter is so stressful. And I went from At the Gates to Storypath Ultra to Curseborne, and when we're about to start doing Alchemicals, and when Alchemicals is over, I am going to fall down and die.
Please don't die. We have more books than out of you.
No. I should bring them out of my dead corpse.
But yeah, I mean, like, we clearly want to do a lot more with Curseborne, and we are planning to do a lot more with Curseborne. We have talked about a ton of books for it. Obviously, some things are funded through stretch goals. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that we're just working on already because we're excited and we want, we want the game to have supplements. We want you to go to higher entanglements. We want you to get more information about the world.
Yeah. Yeah, as a anecdote, as a kind of a point of data, usually when I'm working on these kinds of games, by the time the Kickstarter is over, I'm just exhausted. I mean, there's strong strategic reasons to take a break after a Kickstarter like this, absolutely, but also just creatively, I'm just kind of a bit wrung out. I need the break. But just 3 hours ago, I was pitching a new idea for Curseborne to Danielle. I mean, I had an idea percolating in my head the past week, so I'm already thinking of new stuff, and that is extremely rare. Pugmire is the only other game I've been like that on. And that's not to say that other games are bad or anything. It's not at all the case. I mean, I approach them all differently. And for some reason, well, I know the reasons, but the Curseborne has really gotten under my skin in a very specific way. And that's really exciting. And again, to see some people who also are feeling the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, pres- Preferably not out of the corpse of Daniel Lazon, but we'll take whatever we can get.
Look, I'm just gonna explode into a pile of moths. Just-
Like that one guy in The Magicians.
Moth.
yeah, yeah.
Just moths.
Yes, I would scream moth and then turn into a pile of moths.
I like how it's a pile and not like a flock or like a
No,
whatever.
no, it's just
No,
a
it's a pile.
pile.
Just-
They're all crawling on each other.
Oh,
They're not even
God.
flying.
Oh God, I hate that.
Just
Yes,
exhausted. Just like,
exactly.
I'm not even gonna fly
They're too
anymore.
tired to fly.
I can't do it.
On their last legs.
Ian has pitched a game about wrangling new games out of the corpses of dead developers called Corpseborne.
Huh.
Apparently, a group of moths is called an eclipse of moths.
Oh, nice.
I just had to look
love
that up because I know a group of
Okay.
butterflies is a kaleidoscope. So I was like, what's moth?
Is it?
Yes.
Huh.
I think my favorite animal grouping name is A Business of Ferrets.
Yes.
That's
Because
amazing.
it just makes them sound like they have very important things to be doing.
They're so, yeah.
Oh my god, I need to use it in Pugmire somewhere.
Yes, A Business of
When
Ferrets.
you let me write the character creation rules for the polecats.
Polecats.
A thing I had been pitching myself on. Badger tribes. Yeah. I am very, very, very excited for anything upcoming Pugmire, whether or not I work on it.
I know. I have an outline in right now, so we'll see how it goes.
But yeah, no, I am excited for more Pugmire because
Yeah,
I
me
always
too,
am.
me
I mean,
too.
yes, this is the Curseborne rep stream, but we also have important other games that we like, and Eddie knows that
There's so
Pugmire's
many games.
So many games.
Pugmire's
We
one
make
of
a
my
lot of
babies.
games, guys. We make so many games.
We make so many games.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, like it is funny because we are, kind of compartmentalized as far as everyone's in charge of different things. And so there's some games that I kind of like forget that we're working on until they come up in like the meeting or they start getting talked about a lot on the Discord. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh yeah, Steam Wars is a thing. Like, yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
right. And it's not that I don't like Steam Wars. It's just that I'm not directly involved with it.
Right.
So like, I forget it's progressing, and then suddenly they're like, oh, drafts are in. And I'm like, oh shit, right, we're making a game over there.
Yeah, there's so many games being made right now in this company, by people in this company who aren't me and me.
Yeah.
I am also making games here.
A lot of games in the company.
Yeah, I'm like that Kickstarter ended, and now my brain is literally just jelly.
World's blowing out to backers today. Wow.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. So people.
James.
Yeah. So people who are feeling a hole left by the Curseborne Kickstarter being over can go read their PDFs of World Below.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is super duper cool and has lots of great art that I haven't gotten to see yet. So
Yeah. By the way, since James Bell is in the chat, I don't think we say this often
hi,
enough.
James.
James Bell is amazing. He has
He's
been our
so
crowdfunding
good.
concierge for a number of years now, and I genuinely do not know if I would be alive if I had to be involved in the crowdfunders. Because thanks to him, he has been involved in so much. He's on top of everything. He keeps us on track for our stretch goals.
Yeah.
Make sure that all the stuff that people have backed have gotten to the right people. Make sure that we're creating stuff like art likenesses or names in there. So if you're in the chat right now, please tell James thank you because he absolutely 1000% deserves it.
Yes,
Oh, absolutely.
Also, if we have any changes to Kickstarter pages, like while they're ongoing, he runs in and makes them very quickly. Like
Yeah.
when I messed up some graphics on a recent Kickstarter because I misclicked something, and as soon as a fan pointed it out, I was like, oh shit, you're right, I did send in the wrong thing. Let me go fix that. And like James just updates it real fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are
But
not
it
a
just-
spreadsheet, James.
Honestly, though, you are like, we are forever grateful to what you do. Like,
Yes.
managing a
my God.
Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign is hard work. It is so difficult, and like the amount of enthusiasm and engagement and just like presence that James has for our crowdfunders is so welcome.
Hmm.
So great. So yeah, thank you so much for James. Thank you so much for all of you. We have 13 minutes before the slot expires into a cloud of moths. So what was it? A business of moths? I don't even remember anymore.
An eclipse.
An eclipse was.
Moth business. Moth business. That's
I
all
have
my
all
brain
this moth
retains.
business I have to get to. Sorry,
Very
very
important moth
busy right
business.
now.
Got a moth in the suit. Gonna go off to work.
I feel like
There's a
Eddie's gonna
moth in
take
a
off his
suit.
hat and just get his little feelers are gonna spring up.
Yeah.
Actually, I can. This is actually a proper juice. I can actually untie this.
Have
And,
and have little mothy wings.
Yeah, little flappy.
Oh,
I can't
you've
really see
got
them
little
because of
flappies. Yeah,
but
okay.
yeah, yeah. I have to take it off, tie it back up,
Yeah.
but yes.
We also can wrap up a little bit early. We don't have to stay here the full hour. So, I know that we're all exhausted and a little loopy and a little giddy and very, very, very happy that we have over 3K backers. Very, very happy that we made just under 200K. Like, it's amazing.
Yes.
We definitely finished at, well over 600% funded, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna get so much cool art in this. We got all kinds of stuff happening. So, I'm looking forward to everything.
Yeah. I think, since we have a few minutes left, I will say kind of just for especially people who aren't familiar with the process, kind of next steps look like, is that, like I said, we're going to have the feedback form open for a little bit longer. James will send an update about that information if he hasn't already, because he may have done already because he's like that. But he'll let you know when that gets sorted out. In the near future, also, the backer kit will go up. So if you've already pledged, that's where you manage all of your pledges. If you want to add additional add-ons, you can do it then. If you haven't backed, if you're watching this now and going, oh, I just missed it, you'll be able to get most of the rewards through that as a pre-order. You won't be able to do the special things like likenesses or whatnot, but
Right.
if you want to just buy the printed book or whatever, you'll be able to do all that through the backer kit as well.
Yes.
And then we're going to, after we close the feedback form, we'll start going through. We'll address the feedback. We won't be giving you updated versions of the manuscript, just because we have found in the past that if we continue to iterative things, the book never comes out. Our goal is to try to get the book out in a reasonable time frame. So the next time you will see it is when the layout is done. We usually then do another errata pass when the final book is laid out, so you can let us know any additional concerns of minor changes we need to make in the text, or if there are things like graphical errors, the page number is the wrong number, the art's in the wrong place or missing or whatever.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff to help us catch us. So we're going to go a bit quiet for a while, but James will be keeping you updated every month through the updates in Kickstarter. And I think that's everything. Have a good Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll also, of course, be getting the ball rolling on what we funded through stretch goals. So you'll start hearing about those soon as well. I don't know who's going to be writing some of the fiction yet, but I know who I want to write some of it, so we'll see. We've got some wonderful people.
And usually as that text gets at least approved, then we usually share snippets of that through the backer updates as well.
Yes.
So again, I'm going to go quiet for a bit. James will keep abreast of everything. I'll let you know where everything's at every month. And then as we have stuff to share, he'll start sharing some more teasers of stuff as it comes out for those stretch goals. So yeah, I think that's a campaign.
Yeah.
Wow, y'all.
Did it.
We did it.
Read a book.
Did it.
It's
We
Halloween.
did it.
I'm very, very happy that we did it. I'm also, like you all, very tired, and I just realized that I need to go update the website. Because it's no longer now funding on Kickstarter.
Now funded.
So I will have to add all that stuff to it. If anybody is in the area, the one last thing I will say is that I will be, along with Rich, for at least a little bit at Save Against Fear next week. The convention that we do with our friends at the Badana Group. It is in York, Pennsylvania. The fan-facing convention part of it is from Friday through Sunday. The professional part of it, where they talk to therapists and things, is Thursday and Friday. I will be there and running around from Wednesday night on. Wednesday the 6th of November. So if you're in the area, you want to come by to a con that is for a charity for like one day, please come check out
It's a good
Vegan
show.
Sphere. It's fun. It's not huge. It's really intimate. You get to talk to all the creators, all the vendors. Everyone's real chill, and it's partially at a hotel, but most of the actual convention space is at the York Fairgrounds. So if you get a chance, come out. It's for a good cause. And Rich and I are there pretty much every year, so it's one of my favorite little shows to do, and it's fun. So yeah, come see us.
Awesome.
I thought happy Halloween and happy Curseborning.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Enjoy Curseborne. Hopefully your life is not quite as cursed as the characters you're playing in that game.
Please don't be as cursed as we are.
Are we going to consider Halloween the curse birthday?
Curse day.
Curse day. Happy Curse Day, everybody. Bye.
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 Okay, we're